Hi, it's Marek here. I'm a budding video game composer, and very recently I had a great conversation with Alain, who is a games developer who runs his own studio called Alchemical Works and is working on his very first IP called Battlejuice Alchemist, which I believe he wants to release towards the end of 2021. I'll be leaving a link to his website and his YouTube channel in the description so you can go check out his stuff. So this is video 1 of 2 that we did, one on my channel and one on his channel, where we essentially discuss loads of things to do with video game music and video games. So because this video is quite long, I've stamped the chapters throughout the video and you can see the timestamps as well in the description. And yeah, so I unfortunately lost my audio files, of course, and so my voice is being picked up by the microphone from the camera during the video. Luckily, Alain is the one who's talking for most of it, giving us some great advice and wisdom. So I think we can get away with it. And the video was too interesting to let that little slip up kind of get in the way. So yeah, that's it from me. Yeah, let me know if you like this sort of content. If you'd like to see more, feel free to jump into any point in the video that you think is relevant to you or that you might appeal to you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Hello, Alain. Thank you very much for joining me today. First thing I wanted to talk about today was your game, Battlejuice Alchemist.
Cool.
So I know it's an RPG and it's got some really, really cool mechanics and great artwork, great soundtrack as well.
Thanks.
I'm really impressed with the music and all these different things you're doing by yourself, you're doing on your own. And so I was just wondering, I guess my first question is, how are you finding doing all of these things by yourself, and what's your kind of process? What do you prioritize more than the other stuff?
First of all, thanks for having me. And the question you're asking is super interesting. And I have to say a little thing here, because I always say I do everything myself. I don't do everything myself because I don't do sound effects myself. I buy those. These are the only assets I really buy, but I don't buy any like scripts or assets from any asset store or that. Because we're talking about sound and music, I wanted to say that. You asked, what's the process and what's this all about when you do everything yourself? It's a challenge, and it's on the other side, it's super cool because it never gets boring. You learn something new every day, almost literally. You learn so much, and it's also things that, as a solo developer, it's also things that you don't think of first, because like marketing and you have to build. You don't only have to build a good game, but you also have to market it. You have to maybe start making YouTube videos and all these things. Be your own community manager, be your own social media person, and it's a lot of things. What I like most about the process is actually the 3D stuff. I do that. I've been doing that for many, many years, and so I'm very familiar with that. And this is something I feel like I can really express myself. It's maybe how you feel about music, because you're very familiar with the medium. You can express yourself, and this is not the case for me, for example, when I make music, because I just have to do simple things that just work out. And with 3D, it's different. I can do so much more. And we're here to talk about music. Music came really late, because I knew you wanted to ask me about when does music come into the process in my case. And I looked it up, because I'm like, I really write down every single hour I put into the game, because I want to, this is maybe if I do another project, it's can be good to know, this took that long. Oh, I thought this would take longer, or this would take shorter. Usually I thought it would take shorter. But so I looked where did the sound and the music come in. And it was, I'm now 3 years into the development of the game. I've been working on it 3 years with about 30 hours a week. And the music came in 2 years after I started development. So I think that's quite late. but it worked for me. I mean, of course, if you're making a beat game or just a game that's evolving around the music in a very strong way, and if this is the case, you have a musical background, and then I'm sure it may come in the second week of development. But for me, it was a lot later.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, so that was one of my questions, because I know as someone who has often reached out to developers asking if they are looking for music for their game, and it's impossible to know, I guess, whether they're at the stage where they are wanting to look for music, or whether they've already started looking for music. Or it's very interesting, I think, the points at which audio is discussed and incorporated into a game, because I think it differs. I think it can change. Would you agree?
Totally. It totally varies with regards to the project. And I never realized this, that you as a musician, you have a totally different perspective on this, because for me, it would never matter because I'm making it myself. But when do you get in touch with the developer? And I think how you're doing it is a very smart way, because if you get in touch with people and they know you're there, and even if they won't hire you for their current project, they have you in mind. If you're a person they can imagine to work with, they can sign up to your newsletter, and then they get reminded.
It's more about the connections, would you say, and the kind of ongoing dialogue and the ongoing relationship, rather than one email and then 3 months later another email, and then but that's it. It's just it's much more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to get in touch with developers in general. Of course, you can. It's great if you're informed, if you know what project they are currently working on, and maybe you're super lucky and they say, hey, we're looking for somebody. Can we listen to something you're doing? But I think, as you said, you have to. This is super lucky. This doesn't happen that often, and so you have to make a connection. And I think this newsletter you're doing is a great way to keep people warm. It's of course, if you send me an email every week, I would think, okay, that's a lot of email. But if you get reminded, there's this person and he's making great music, and he made another project, then I will have you in my mind the next time I'm looking for somebody who I want to work with regards to music.
As a dev, because when we first made contact, I remember you said that you liked the way that I contacted you, and so that kind of highlights to me that there are probably do's and don'ts, I guess, ways to do things and ways to not do things when you're trying to contact a developer. So are there kind of some things that you've liked and some things that you haven't liked when composers or other people have tried to get in contact with you about their work?
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question, because when I first announced the game, before that I just worked on the game for a long time, and then you get out there and start social media, and then suddenly people start getting in touch with you, and this is was something new to me, because it was a lot of musicians actually, because they see a project that they are interested in. They say, this looks promising maybe, and then they get in touch and want to work with you. And as you said, there are better ways to do it and worse ways to do it, I think. And the most important thing is, I guess, that you have to be informed about the person you're contacting, and you have to know the project they're working on. This is something, I think it's obvious, but there are people who don't do that. They just send you you feel that it's copy pasted, and I would not put such a person on the top of the list of people I want to work with, even if the credits were super good, the person had worked on very interesting games, but if they don't take the time to at least look at your website or look at your game, then it's not. Then the person is not really interested in it. Just sending out emails. Yeah, I think that's an important thing, and something that maybe is not that obvious, but which was interesting. I had people contact me who already had produced music for my project. Like, I don't know if they just had something already produced and just changed it up, or just said, hey, I made this for your project, but really they had made it for another RPG or something. I don't know that, but I found that interesting, and this was really an extra mile they went. But I wouldn't say that's necessary, because I know that you don't have time to do that. Every time you write an email and then you spend 2 days before that to compose a snippet or something, that's a lot of work. I wouldn't say that's necessary to do something like that. But of course, this makes also can make an impression. So maybe I would recommend, if you already got in touch and there is some kind of interest. The person said, yes, I'm looking into things right now, but I haven't decided yet. I think this is the point where you can really dive in and go the extra mile and say, hey, I read your mail and I got working right away because your game looks so amazing and I really want to be part of this. Here is the 10 seconds or 20 seconds I wrote for the scene I saw in your trailer. Yeah, but I wouldn't do, also you don't need to do that cold, like in a cold approach, and like invest like 2 days and
yeah, very interesting.
Also, something I find interesting is you should always answer emails, even if the person said, sorry, we can't work with you, or I can't work with you at the moment. I would always say, hey, no worries. Still, I wish you all the best for your game and let's stay in touch. It's so simple. It takes you 10 seconds, but just to not answer, I think that's also not the best idea.
Yeah, completely. In Battle Juice, you've implemented music in your own way, where certain things in the game will trigger certain events within the music.
I have these various instruments, and I have them on different tracks. And if you are in town, for example, the bass line is a different one than when you're outside of town. Or if the fight starts, then the drums get faster.
This is something I'm still learning about myself, and I understand is very crucial. But yeah, so what do you expect a composer to know, and what do you expect them to be able to do for you to really get the value from their service?
It's very difficult to sync the tracks. You just can't press play on the various tracks, because a game is frame-based, because everything is in frames per second, as you know, in video games. But music is not. You can often not, if you just have 1/30th of a second, and this is everything you can do, play or not play, then your music will never sync up. And I had to figure this out with code. And now to your question, do I expect something like this from a composer? Not at all. I would say, no, that's not your job. It's not, if I would hire somebody for the complete musical system, I would hire like, I think this wouldn't even be an audio engineer, this would be a programmer, and he or she would work with a composer. So I don't think if that's your specialty. If you want to make music for games, I don't think you have to get into like really start coding or anything, or be able to put your music into Unity or Unreal Engine. I think this is not at all necessary. I think the skills the composer has to bring is the musical skills. As we talked about before, you have to be able to communicate, you have to be able to take criticism, but also not be too also like stand in for your beliefs, because this is something when I work together with people. I'm not doing this on this project, but in the past I have a background in filmmaking, which is very collaborative, where you work with a lot of people, and a person is hired because of a certain skill, and you have to let this person do what they do best. And so if you have to be able to take in the criticism from the developer in this case. But if you feel like, oh, this is something you're telling me, if we do this will be a bad soundtrack, the game will be bad, then you have to also be able to speak your mind but you have to know in which situations this is the case, or where you just say, that's a matter of taste, and the developer wants this, so and so, and he's or she's the client, and so I go this round. But in this thing, we said this is the concept, and here we can't compromise. Then I want to hear that from you as a composer.
So I think that's everything, really. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you
for your time.
It was super interesting talking to you, and maybe we can do this sometime again.
Yeah, I think this worked out better than I thought, so that's great. Great, okay. Thank you very much.